Anyway, so talking about what happened in, was it the fourth round of the Conservative Unionist Party's leadership election? So let me go over my forecast versus what actually happened. So I said Rishi Sunak would get 135 votes. He only got 118. So it's quite far out on that one. I overestimated the sort of bandwagon affecting the lower candidate and giving their votes to the higher placed candidates. There's obviously not as much of a crossover from the eliminated candidate, Tom Tugendhat. Not as many Tugendhat votes going to Sunak as I thought. Then Penny Mordaunt, I said she'd get 88, she got 92. So I'm proud of that one, I was very close. Now, Liz Truss, I said she'd get 82, she got 86. So I'm pleased with that. I was very close on that one as well. Now, Kemi Badenoch, I got this fairly far out, not as badly out as I did with Rishi Sunak. I predicted she'd get 48 votes. No, she got 59. She didn't shed as many votes as I thought, because I thought that Badenoch supporters would perceive that Kemi Badenoch didn't have a realistic chance of getting through this ballot, and therefore say, well, let's back one of the major candidates, particularly Liz Truss, because she would, she's, what's the word, going to be the main right-wing person, or indeed some of them would even go to Rishi Sunak, but that wasn't the case. Anyway, what was I going to say? So that's about it. So what's going to happen now? So there are those 59 Kemi Badenoch votes going a begging. What's going to happen to them? Well, she's one of the more right-wing candidates, so politically, well, ideologically, most aligned with Mary Elizabeth Truss. So I think about half of votes will go there. Now, remember, Kemi Badenoch is probably the closest to Boris Johnson, though still in the race. Kemi Badenoch's done very well, considering she never held cabinet rank. She's then over equalities minister. But so some of these people will vote for Penny Mordaunt, because they're Stop Rishi people. Boris Johnson favoured her really, but then it's so the one who's got a good chance of stopping Rishi Sunak is Penny Mordaunt. Despite Miss Mordaunt being deeply unimpressive, she's only a cabinet minister briefly, and that was over a few years ago. And everybody who served with her closely say she's not up to scratch. So she's not bright. She can't articulate her own policies apart from being PR. I mean, you should read her book. It's an absolute farrago of cliches and truisms, posing as profundities. It really is rubbish. So she really doesn't do subtlety. So she's tying herself in knots of her own trans policy that she doesn't appear to comprehend. But despite being unsuitable for the top post, she won't. She may well get it. Well, I think she will get the prime ministership, actually. I'll come to that later. Not many Kemi Badenoch supporters would go for Rishi. And Rishi's more or less hit his ceiling, because he's on the left of the party and Kemi Badenoch's on the right of the party. So not many Kemi votes will go to him. Some will, because some people are not doing this on an ideological basis. They think, well, who can win us the next election? That he's presentable, he's telegenic, he's young but not too young, he's got a good ministerial record, stuff like that. Let's face it, ethnic minority, that's good. The Conservative Party needs to appeal to more ethnic minority people, prove that we're not racist. We're often accused of that. So that's what I think will be happening. This is what my prediction is for the next round. I forecast that Rishi Sunak get 122 votes. Penny Mordaunt will get 119, and Liz Truss will get 113. So we'll be very close, but that means that Liz Truss should be eliminated. Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt, and this is going to be announced only about 24 hours from now, are going to go to the final ballot, head-to-head, amongst the mass membership. At least 160,000 ordinary members of the Conservative Party, not politicians, have a postal ballot, be sent out probably later the end of this week, and have to send it back sometime by late August, and be counted, and then the result announced. Boris Johnson resign imminently. The new Prime Minister will be summoned to Buckingham Palace to kiss hands shortly thereafter. Something like the 5th of September. It's penciled in for. There's no sign that Liz Truss is going to drop out. So I'm saying they'll still have the same order. But of course, I'm less sure of all this than I was, because the results have become so close. The race has tightened considerably. So Rishi Sunak, I would have given him a 90% chance of being in the final two. I think that's lower. That's about 80% chance So Penny Mordaunt, okay, I would have given about an 80% chance of being in the final two. Again, that's lower. It's about a 60% chance. But obviously, Liz Truss's chances have improved considerably. So I would have given about a 20% chance of being in the final two. It's about a 40% chance now. So supposing in the vote amongst the mass membership is Rishi Sunak versus Penny Mordaunt, who wins that one? Well, I think Miss Mordaunt would win that. So I give her about a 60% chance of winning. If it's Rishi Sunak against Liz Truss, who would that win that one? I mean, again, I think Rishi Sunak would win that one, but narrowly, by maybe 55%. What if it was Liz Truss against Penny Mordaunt? Again, I think Penny Mordaunt would win that one, and I would give her about a 70% chance of her winning that. I don't understand why she's so popular myself. I have seen these opinion polls. I mean, how old? She's 49 years old. She's been active in the Conservative Party since her adolescence. She was head of the Young Conservatives under John Major in the early 90s. She's a Royal Naval Reserve officer. I mean, she's well dressed. What am I going to say? She's an every woman. Maybe just by being the common woman, by being unimpressive, that appeals to some people. Someone, a Joanna Average, perhaps. So that's her. Liz Truss, does she come across as too calculating, as too distant, too cold, and a little bit robotic, a bit of the Maybot? Is she trying to channel Margaret Thatcher too much? Perhaps. Fairly successful as a foreign secretary, not just follow-on trade deals, actually new trade deals with various countries since the United Kingdom exited the European Union. Rishi Sunak, fairly successful chancellor in very testing times. Some people accuse of him behaving like a Labour chancellor. The real gulf has opened up now as a tax cut. And he was saying, now that we're fiscally irresponsible, I shan't tell people fairy tales. Not going to do so, be deeply imprudent. So he's only saying that because he thinks it's true, not because he thinks it's popular, particularly amongst Conservatives. And he can actually aggravate inflation, a tax cut now. But other people are pushing for it. Liz Truss is, so is Penny Mordaunt. I think Liz Truss believes what she says. Penny Mordaunt, I guess, is rather cynical positioning. And Kemi Badenoch was calling for this as well. Liz Truss wants to beef up the defence budget hugely. She said 2% of GDP spent on defence is the floor and not the ceiling. This has been applauded by the military top brass. Wants to raise it to 3% by 2030. And in view of Russia's hyper-aggression and numerous atrocities, I think that's actually a very wise thing to do. But then you can't really have your cake and eat it. You can't have the tax cut with that. I mean, I wanted Kemi Badenoch to win. Who do I want to win now? I mean, I'm not that drawn to any of them. I mean, maybe Liz Truss, second choice, Rishi Sunak, Penny Mordaunt. You may have picked up this vibe. I do not warm to Miss Mordaunt. I don't think she'd be a suitable Prime Minister, but I think she's going to win it. I think she'll come second in its next ballot. She'll go to the mass membership, and she will win it by about 60% of the vote. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.